Be sure to go to flipsidegaming.com and use promo code 6 for 10% off on orders over $10. It's a good deal and helps support the show. What's up, Planeswalkers? Bad Hair, Theoric 6, back with some more Magic the Gathering Arena. And as is often the case, I did not practice today's deck because I practiced other decks, and they didn't work out. So instead we're playing something completely different, entirely unpracticed, because for some reason in my mind, that's better than just playing a practice deck that did poorly. Just carte blanche, it's fine. We're playing a Bolas deck again. This was given to me by someone who had Spooky in their name during a live stream. Look, I'm very bad with names. Fake names are even harder. So I'm calling this Spooky Bolas, whatever. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna see how it does. I have not changed anything from their deck, or maybe they got the deck from someone else. I don't know. I have no idea what's happening. But we're gonna play this, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that I think are nice quality of life improvements that I hope Arena has by the autumn set, because I believe there's no confirmation of this, but the whisperings are that the autumn set is when they're going to launch Arena. Of course, I don't know anything. I'm fucking like a 5th rate Magic creator. Probably 10th rate for what it's worth. So I don't know anything actually, but that's things I've heard, just like random rumor mill stuff going on. So if they do that, I'm going to talk about some things that I think are necessary before that happens. But first, let's hop into the deck. I've wasted already a minute of your time. 2 Search for Azcanta. Pretty obviously a very helpful card if you can get to the late game. I do worry a little bit that Orzhov Vamps is so prevalent that we're not going to even want to use Search for Azcanta very much, but it is something that helps us to get to the cards that we actually need in any given matchup, so maybe it'll be fine. And yes, I know there's a hole in my shirt. Shut up. Okay, well, Shekel. 4 Thought Erasures. It's you're playing blue-black, you're playing this card. It is just very helpful at disrupting your opponent and surveilling, so you can get some extra vision. 4 Tyrant Scorn. 4 Tyrant Scorn. It removes things early on, which is helpful. For what it's worth, it doesn't, unfortunately, get around a down to Vanguard, which you might be saying, why are you talking so much about vampires? I've played so many vampires today. Stop. But it does at least bounce things, so that's helpful, I guess. 2 Mu Yanling. Now, I've not played with this card at all. And as you can probably tell, this is actually more of a Super Friends version of Bolas. That Spooky was like, hey, have you played Super Friends version of Bolas? I was like, no. So he gave me this list. Mu Yanling, 1, she does come down and pseudo-protect herself because she does make it so that one of your opponent's creatures are at the very least smaller. But if she's coming down on turn 3, usually it means that she'll be totally fine to next turn make a 4/4. And a 4/4 on turn 4 with a 1 Loyalty Planeswalker left over is pretty nice. You are, in my opinion, almost never going to ultimate with this card, because that means you have +2'd so many times that you could have just made a bunch of 4/4s and attacked with those, which would be a faster win condition. That said, I've not played with her. I have no expectations about this card. I will say, though, she is one of the top waifus. I need to make that video, don't I? I was gonna do it with easy. I gotta message people. Narset, part of the Veils, two of them. Fantastic card against a lot of the decks. However, a lot of the decks is not good against. So Vampires, Jund Dinosaurs, unless they're playing like a bunch of the 4/5 Raptors and also are dealing damage to itself, then it's not really that important in those matchups per se. Obviously, Narset does stop the draw from Champion of Dusk, but if our opponent plays a turn 3 Sorin into a Champion of Dusk, I don't think them drawing like 3 cards is our problem. I think them having a 4/4 before we have any real solution to it is a big problem. Also, it searches for what we need. 3 card the Carnarium. This gets rid of it onto Vanguard. Moving on. For what it's worth, it also gets rid of the stupid tokens from Field of the Dead. 4 Nicol Bolas. This is a Bolas deck. We're having 4 of these. They're 2/4s. Ritual of Soot gets rid of not only the zombies, it gets rid of a lot of, but not all, of the things in vampires and dinos. But it also gets rid of the Nissa lands, so that is helpful. 2 Karns, this is either something that makes a good old-fashioned blocker, or gives you card advantage. Dominaria Karn, I'm actually like super low on recently, and I feel like there might be just a better Planeswalker in this deck, or in the metagame right now than Karn, but I do want to see this deck, how it performs just as is out of the box, especially considering there's no Chandra in here, and that's something I think is very interesting. 2 Sarkhan the Masterless instead of the 4 that I did play with. Oh my god, that was yesterday. Well, it looks like we're playing Planeswalker decks back to back. Who cares? I don't. Unlike that deck, Sarkhan the Masterless here is still a win condition, but I feel because we have Nicol the Ravager, which is already a good old-fashioned dragon, we're actually getting a lot more value out of his static ability here. Because just playing Sarkhan and then immediately minusing him after we've played a Nicol the Ravager means that already we're going to be sniping down 2 toughness creatures, and that is a fantastic defense for our Sarkhan. For Dragon Gods, this is a Bolas deck shot. 1 Command the Dreadhorde. I actually don't agree with this card being in the deck because there is not innate life gain in the main deck. And because there's not innate life gain in this deck, and one of our weakest matchups are anything that are super aggressive, I think this would just be better served as either a Chandra or, honestly, something a little bit early on to gain life or deal with annoying threats, right? I'm not sure Command the Dreadhorde is going to be good here, but we'll find out. 1 Liliana is value incarnate, makes a dude, sacks some dudes, kills the opponent. And Eugen. I wanted to say Eugene and Ugin at the same time. The colors thing is helpful for Karn, I suppose, but mostly this is just a card advantage and removal engine. Now this is the mana base, and this is another thing that I want to critique. We have Blast Zones here, and I can see why they're in, right? They can get rid of a lot of things for us, but notably they don't deal with tokens. They don't deal with the Nissa lands because those things are CMC 0, and this comes in with a counter. And there are no main deck ways of removing the counters from this. So it can't deal with those. It also isn't able to deal with the Dawn of Vanguards, which is the premier aggressive deck that are in best of 3. And against many other decks that have higher creature CMCs, I'm not sure we're going to have the mana up while continuing to not die to their big board that we're trying to answer with Blast Zone to actually use it. And then, of course, against Mono Red, yes, this is something that can get rid of their 1s, 2s, or 3s relatively early, but the issue there is that they also just have a ton of burn, right? And if we're putting this up to 2, right, we're taking 3 mana from one of our turns. And obviously, like, later in the game, we have that excess mana, we could do that. But if later in the game we have that excess mana, I feel like I would rather just have a better land, like a shock or a check, that I could have played earlier in the game, tapped or whatever, so that I didn't have to potentially shock because I'm playing Blast Zones. We're also playing Interplanar Beacons. Now, this is, I guess, innate life gain, but it's not really. It's something that'll get you some nickels and dimes here and there, but it's not really something overall that you should rely on to make something like Command the Dreadhorde actually playable. And then, of course, the sideboard. We have 2 Disdainful Strokes, very helpful at dealing with a lot of these annoying big cards. It stops the Scape Shift in its tracks. It stops big Teferi, and it can counter a lot of big things from dinosaurs. However, unfortunately, vampires are incredibly prolific, and they're buttholes. 3 Negates, very helpful against the main control / mid-range decks going on. 2 Elder Spells. I don't actually agree with this inclusion because I don't see many decks running out a bunch of Planeswalkers at once. I do agree that Esper Tempo can, but I'm inclined to prefer something that is a little bit more targeted here. Maybe some Fries, maybe some Noxious Grasp, because they are also a little bit more versatile, right? I don't see as many games where I can bring in the Elder Spell as I could see bringing in a couple of Fries or Noxious. 3 Bloodstun, very obvious reason we're playing this. It's necessary. 3 Ashiok Dreamrender, same exact reason as Bloodstun, except this also does have some splash damage against some good old graveyard decks. And then 2 Kasmina. I honestly think that we should maybe be having Kasmina in the main deck instead of Karn. That's kind of what I suggested to someone for yesterday's video. They asked me what to replace Karn for in the main deck, and I think Kasmina is probably the best replacement for it, because it innately is giving you not card advantage, but card selection, which can help you out a ton. And it's forcing your opponents to pay a little bit more if they are these single target removal opponents, in order to remove any of your individual planeswalkers. And that includes burn, right? If you're going to be able to have access to one of these big beefy planeswalkers, spending 3 mana on a card is a lot different than spending 1 mana, because it means that they're not going to be able to put more onto the board at nearly as much as they otherwise would. So this is our sideboard. We are going to do best of 3, and I do know this was like a 10-minute thing, but I really wanted to go in depth with this deck because, you know, I'm playing it out of the box, as it were, and I kind of wanted to give my opinions on how the deck was built and how it relates to the metagame and things. I've seen a lot of these Chandras, and frankly, it's just not as good as the other Chandra, in my opinion. I really need to get that waifu video out. There's waifus, husbandos, and spousus. Let's see, so here we do have an access to a turn 2 Azcanta, but I mean, as you can see, right, there's Ritual of Soot. For Ritual of Soot, we need 16 black sources by turn 4. Or 16 black sources to have reliably 2 black on turn 4. And for Cry the Carnarium, it's 18. And we do not have that. I think we have 13, which is significantly lower. Luckily, we do have Azcanta. So Azcanta is something that is going to help us out in terms of mana. I'm, of course, drinking some good old-fashioned apple juice. Only the best of fruit juices. Very likely going to be a Field of the Dead deck, which means these Ritual of Soots aren't going to be needed early on, but they very well may be needed in the later end of the game, which is hopefully when we'll have those double blacks. Double blacks. Luckily, because I didn't record any, or I didn't practice at all with this deck. Oh, maybe it's just ramp? Nope, it's, no. Yeah, I mean, I really do think that the mana base needs a bit of work. There are 26 lands in the deck, but having Ritual Soot and Cry the Carnarium and the Tyrant Scorn and the Thought Erasures, I think it's kind of just incorrect to not be running more black sources. Is this just Bant Elementals? No, Bant Scapeshift usually runs Risen Reaves, I believe. Yeah, I'm fairly certain it does. Graveyard. And we have literally 0 black. There we go. We have some black. And for this first one, I am going to just go ahead and Ritual here. I can't. I forgot about that. So I am just going to kill the Risen Reef. Destroy turret. Yep. That stops them from getting too much value. Now, I definitely could have gotten rid of the Llanowar Elves, because that would stop them from, for example, playing a Nissa here. However, I felt that, in general, it was more important for me to deal with the Risen Reef, because those things stacking gets out of hand very, very fast. I feel like... I don't know if the music is too loud for everyone. It's too loud for me. I just turn my headphones down. I have to graveyard this because I do need more black sources. This is not a black source. How dare you? Do gain a little bit of life here, and so I could minus to get a creature, but I'm pretty sure that's just incorrect. My opponent isn't in a situation to just kill my Karn so easily. And luckily, regardless of what my opponent does here, I will get a black source. And I can play it this turn. I have not played a land yet. So that doesn't mean we'll be able to play both of our either of our planeswalkers next turn, I should say. And playing a Sarkhan out and -3ing is pretty decent against a board like this. The big issue that I fear here is Nissa. However, what we could do is, if our opponent does play Nissa, and they don't, which is nice, they might be bouncing my Azcanta here, which is fine. You can't bounce Karn, you dumb Teferi player. Oh, I'm just net decking. I'm totally fine with net deckers. Just know how to play the deck that you're playing. So theoretically here I could Sarkhan plus and murder Teferi. Not sure if I want to, though. I'm totally fine if they double attack Karn. Nope, they don't, and I think that's reasonable. Sure. Okay. So we do have a good old-fashioned steam vent here, so... how much do I value murdering Karn? Or murdering Teferi? Pretty highly. But I don't believe that the correct decision is to Bolas and kill it. I do think the correct decision is to Sarkhan. Yeah, I think the correct decision is Sarkhan plus Sarkhan up to 6. Hit him over there. So I'm going to Karn first. We have a land in there.
You may regret that choice.
So land Ugin here. So we're probably just going to get the Watery Grave. Sure. And we're actually going to play the Watery Grave because 1, it's a swamp. And 2, we don't want to give our opponent any more information than we have to. Right, so they don't know about our steam vents, so there's no reason to give them that information. Because if I play the steam vents, they would know 2 of our cards, and they would only have 3 that they'd have to worry about. As is now, they have 4 to worry about, so... I think highlighting this deck highlighting this deck as well as the discussion I had with the commenter about what cards can I replace here for what. One of the really important adjustments, I think, for the game as a whole, but specifically the deck builder, is to give us an in-game indication of the number of rares, mythics, commons, and uncommons. I'm very surprised. Oh, that's fine, actually. So yeah, it looks like it's maybe just ramp. So, I mean, here I can Ritual of Soot and be pretty happy about it. I can attack them for 1, which is not at all an issue. Sure. I don't have any dragons. Maybe I don't even Ritual of Soot. Like, I could just play Bolas, kill this. Do I want to get Eugene back? Bolas is what, 5? So I can play both? Yeah. So I can play Azcanta. I can play Azcanta and Bolas. Get Eugene back to my hands. And then make a creature. Yeah, I think that's the correct decision. So we're going to go ahead and start off by kicking this. Thank you very much. And to play out our Bolas. I had to make sure we still had blue. Going to absolutely destroy my friend over here. I'll do this. Now, what's nice about this is even if they do play Nissa, I will be able to block the 3/3. As is right now, they can't actually attack into any of my planeswalkers to kill them because of my Sarkhan's static ability. My opponent may, of course, forget about Sarkhan's static ability and thus suicide their creatures, and I would be fine with that. So I'm still not sure if this is normal ramp or Scapeshift. I'm leaning so much more heavily on normal ramp, just because they don't seem to be playing many of the you know I haven't seen any growth spirals, I haven't seen circuitous roots, I haven't seen Crisis, I haven't seen Nissa, so there are plenty of cards that I just haven't seen. Ooh, the second Hydra in the top 17. That is unfortunate. So Bolas goes down here.
I have other schemes to attend to.
Now let's see. So I can't flip this. A second beacon doesn't really do much. So I think I'm just going to graveyard this to see if I get something a little bit more interesting. Nope. Let's see. So here I can... Plus... I guess I do just Ritual of Soot here. Yeah, it gets rid of their squad. I have another one, so I'm not terribly worried about it. And it's tapped. I guess I should have plus first. Yeah, that was a misplay on my part. Oh, we have a Thought Erasure. That's fantastic. And a Command the Dreadhorde. Wow, they actually give us the commands. I'm honestly surprised by that.
Look to the skies.
Just dumb our opponent for a casual 8. Cool. So I mean, we have a command. Not like we need it, but we do have a command. All right, so there's a Nissa. Our Sarkhan is going to die. Although we could just command.
The land fights for us.
Oh no, the land.
Listen to the roar. The dragon does
So my search will flip.
lose.
Paradise Druid, sure. Still I want to graveyard 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, I'll just graveyard this. Transform. Oh, Bolas. So I'm at 18. This would be 10. Put me to 8. Ooh. Could take 11 and go to 7. Then this can kill her. And this can kill the creatures. At 7, it does get quite risky. Although, I'm going to be gaining 2 life, so I'll actually be at 9. So I think this is actually a completely fine line of play here. don't want to take that. Alright, so this is 11. Do I want to put it up to 14? So I'd go down to 4 and then go up to 5. I'd have to ferry. No, I don't think so. Cool. Okay, so in this deck, didn't really shuffle anything. I could take Disdainful Stroke, because on the stack X is whatever. So I think Disdainful Stroke's probably fine here. I didn't see any indication of like Field Ruin or anything like that. What was your opponent's cast targeted? No, I don't think that's terribly required. Time Scorn, I still think it's fine. Cry, is Cry still fine? I probably cut a Cry. Yeah, I think cutting a Cry is fine. Do I cut 2 Cries? Yeah, I'll cut 2 Cries. This could be incorrect, but man. Adding a rarity counter is merely a quality of life improvement. Because when you... I mean, for what it's worth, it's kind of like best as a streamer. Because then, when you go into the stats of the deck, it shows the mana curve and land and percent distribution and whatever. Then people can at a glance see, okay, this deck has not very many rares or mythics. This is something I could actually reasonably craft. Or they'd be like, oh, holy crap, this has a lot of rares and mythics. I might not be able to make this. And essentially just like sets reasonable expectations. And I know that's not really important, but it's just a quality of life thing. Like, it's not... I should say it's not... it doesn't seem to be something that would take a lot of resources or a lot of space up, because it could just be on the side of the graph, right? It'd just be like, it doesn't even need to be a symbol. It could just be like MRUC, right? But this might be, no, it's a Risen Reef. So we will murder the crap out of that. Technically I could have waited, but it's whatever. Next turn, probably just going to play Blood Crypt tapped. Well, yeah, that is exactly what I'm going to do. Let's get some more information on my opponent's deck, just in case we go to game 3. So, oh, Deputy of Detention? Sure. I mean, yeah, sure. Nissa, another Risen Reef. So my immediate inclination is to drop down the Risen Reef, because that thing potentially gets them to Nissa. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Fuck yeah, dude. So something that, hilariously, I could do is just play Bolas, and if my opponent decides to deputy it, I can then just kill the deputy and get another Bolas trigger. Okay, so my opponent didn't give me any information. They gave me information there, so now I know for a fact that they can play a Nissa next turn. Which is unfortunate. However, I think that's fine. Because if they do play it next turn... So the plan, right? They discard, I assume they're going to discard the Hydra. If they discard a Nissa, they're not smart. I don't see how that's correct. I have an active Bolas. If they don't draw land here and they deputy first, then my Ritual of Soot is going to make them discard again, and it's going to get rid of their Llanowar Elf. Oh, fuck, yeah, no, yeah. Not the best plan. Of course they didn't know about the Ritual of Soot in my hand, but... And now they're forced to discard again. I assume it is going to be the Hydra here, because they kind of need that Nissa to survive. They have to top deck a land, and... Okay, that's interesting. So they're not going to be able to kill my Ravager for a little bit. So, I mean, this is only a 3. Obviously, it can be a bit larger, but I have a Ritual of Soot in hand. Obviously, my opponent doesn't know about it, but... It's not the best situation for them. And I can flip this next turn? Yeah. 6. I mean, I honestly could even just let my Karn die? No, I just Ritual this here. I'm so close to being able to just murderify my opponent. The question is, do I play this Thought Erasure to scry? And I think I do. My opponent's at 5 mana. They probably are able to play pretty much anything that they can. and that's it. I just wanted to make sure that I can get to my 7th mana, so that I can just use Bolas. Well, that makes things a little bit awkward. Okay. Sure. Now, I can get a Nissa here.
Dragons when I was truly fighting ants.
I don't even think I care about getting a Nissa here. I could get a Risen Reef, but honestly, I just want to draw cards.
I always have an answer.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna draw more cards.
I know what must be done.
Gonna gain some life. Negate? Sure. That's fine. I'm just drawing a bunch of cards, and I can ultimate my Bolas. What are you doing? Leave my Bolas alone. That's what I thought. Oh, Disdainful Stroke. Don't mind if I do. Go ahead and plus. Look, it's a Mu Yanling. Yeah, I don't care if this gets countered.
Few things are more calm than a raging thunderstorm. Quell your temper.
Sure. Ooh, and not often seen ultimate. So my opponent doesn't concede or remove my Bolas. Hydra? Sure. I could counter it there, but I'm not going to. Because I want my opponent to stick around. No! Why? So, I want to do a collab with Easy Mode, because he was, one of the first people who helped support the channel, and 2, he's a cool dude. You should totally check out his videos. But the thing I wanted to do is record all of the Planeswalker Ultimates and kind of like pseudo-rank them. And then I wanted to record a stupid one where I literally rank all of the Planeswalkers as waifus, husbandos, and spouses because it's funny to me. But, I mean, he's busy, I'm busy, so. Okay, let's see. We have a Mu. We have a Mu, but, like, I don't like that that's our first card. I mean, they're... it's fine. It's fine. Hopefully. Okay. Black-red. Black-red. What is the Summit? So they're playing Grixis as well. Very interesting. But their hand seems to be a lot slower than mine because of these. But I could still get Thought Erased here. Yep. So my assumption is they're going to take Bolas the Ravager. They could take Mu, and I think Mu would be a respectable pick. But Bolas is a 2-for-1. That's fine. They could. This makes me think they have another Thought Erasure. So go ahead and play this because we don't want to give any information to our opponent. I guess I could have played Blast Zone to put it up to 2. I guess that's technically the correct thing to do. Nope, just search for Azcanta. Interesting. Okay. Sure, I'll play this Bolas. So I force a discard here. So even if they have removal from my Bolas... Yeah, so they're looking for mana. So they kept a 3-lander. And, do they get it? They do? Okay. What do they do, though? They play bolts of their own. Interesting. So I easily dropped the Cry of the Carnarium. And they know about my Dragon God, so... I'm just going to exile the shite out of this. Thank you, goodbye.
Once again.
And I'm just going to smoke him in the face with my 4/4. Cool. So we're playing against a another Grixis deck. Which, mad respect. Because Grixis is the best. Let's see, some other important quality of life improvements for the deck builder specifically is letting us add cards when we're in the landscape mode. I don't know what it's called exactly. But we have my opponent knows about my other Nicol Bolas. They like have to have a counter here, right? If it's specifically... Okay. Cool. And we're going plus. Opponent likely to discard something that is just not necessary in the deck, or in the matchup, like a ritual or something. Okay. I was like, what? You got rid of a Chandra when you're going to have 6 mana next turn. This flips. They had 6 mana. Okay, whatever's in their hand has to be really good. That ain't it, Chief. That is incredibly not it, Chief. Cool. Well, I now know all of the nonsense in your hand.
Intellect is without limit.
I think I'm going to Tyrant Scorn this. Yeah, just get some damage through. I didn't have the mana to Tyrant Scorn, turn this into their Bolas, and then Bolas them. But I'm fairly certain this is a 1 game here.
Mind and body should hone your prowess.
Cool, yeah. Okay, so we're going against essentially the same deck. So easy Disdainful Strokes, negates, even Kasmina's. Wow, they just stone cold did not want to play. That's fair. Incredibly fair. Look, we're at 32. I know it wasn't very many actual games, but these games take forever, and yesterday's video was already pretty long, so I'm just gonna do some packs and maybe talk a little bit about a couple more things in the deck builder specifically that I think need fixing, frankly. Blah blah blah, blah blah blah. So if all you cared about were the games, thanks for watching. But I am going to talk a little bit about the rest of this nonsense. So the main thing I was talking about, right? The last thing I was talking about is this. I can only click to remove. I cannot click to add. There should be a way for us to add cards in here. Like these have numbers next to them, or they have like little pluses next to them. When we hover over specifically the number, let us be able to plus them, right? We hit the card everywhere else, removes, but here we plus, right? This should not be here. This is trash. I understand that it's first world content creator problem that I have all of these sleeves, but not only is this not a great way to advertise the other sleeves that are available, but it's a non-efficient way to compare and contrast at once. So here, up here, we have good old circles for the colors, colorless, multicolor, lands, and you can go in here. In here, a lot of other things. You could either put it up here, probably after the lands, but before this, or you could just put it in here somewhere, just like right over here. I understand, like, it's nice symmetry that's like these are all above these, above the middles. Shift them a little. Make it so that they're all above the actual circles, right? That's fine. Give us a little circle with a little square card that is obviously a magic card, where we can just go to it and it looks just like this if we're on this screen, or it looks just like this when we're on this screen, and it just shows us these sleeves in order. And you'd be able to you could click not collected and see all of the other sleeves, and then those things can tell you this was available at this date, at this date, from this date to this date, and will be available in the store again at some point, right? Like you could say, will be in store again, right? Just something small like that. Or you can say this came with the mastery for core M20, right? That's something that you can say. This came with the Bolas bundle, which is not currently in the store, but might be back, right? It'd be such a better way for people to see what cosmetics they may want, and then they can purchase them, right? Especially for ones that have already rotated out of the store, because right now, I don't know how many people know about this one or this one. Some of the older Planeswalker sleeves as well. these are all the new ones, but like the older ones that have already rotated, right? That would show them, oh, hey, this looks awesome. I'm going to pay attention when this comes around and then give you my money. Obviously, it's not something that's super necessary, but it should be there. Also, I do think that the restructuring of how you look up multicolored things needs to change. For example, if I click this, nothing shows up. Because what the game is thinking is it has to be blue and black and red and colorless. If I do this, it's just blue and black and red. But, notably, this includes cards that aren't those. This is anything with it and more. Baseline, I could be super wrong about this one, but baseline, when I do this, I am making a Grixis deck, and I want to see every single card that is multicolor within Grixis only. I know there are some things that you can do, so there's like C is greater than white black, right? So this will show you all of the cards. All right, this is greater than. So this is all of the cards that have white, black, and more. C is greater than. Crap, I think it was it tilde? No, I don't remember the greater than or equal to, but greater than white. So this will show you literally everything that is at least white and something else. So you can do that, but it doesn't give you, for example, if I wanted to do this, if I did C greater than blue, I then wouldn't get the black-red spells that I want, right? So it's really annoying. And I know that you could just do this, right? You do this, it gives you exactly those colors. Except that it doesn't, because it gives you those colors and more, which just doesn't seem right to me. But whatever. That one is a bit less of a gripe. What I really want to see is, say I'm scrolling, making a Grixis deck, right? I'm scrolling. Then I want to add green to that. It shouldn't kick me back to the beginning of my scroll. Right? Like I'm scrolling. I affected down here. I shouldn't have had to reload all the way to the top. Like obviously I'm gonna close these out. Obviously if I'm scrolling, right, and then I select one that is in front of it, makes sense that I would go back to white. But if I'm scrolling, I get to blue, so I'm actually going to just get to blue, which takes for freaking ever in this thing. Oh, I guess I could do this. Which also took me all the way back to the front, but that's fine. My god, this still takes forever. This game does not seem very optimized. It shouldn't take that long to load these pages. So I get to blue, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I didn't see anything in white that I wanted in this. I'm just gonna get rid of white. Well, actually, I would have had to go to black, but whatever. And it just like kicks you to the front. Also, these are still white. I understand that they're also blue and also black, but I just feel the filters here could be better. Also, the reset is super annoying when you get to the lands. Mostly because Wizards added the fucking basic lands back when you just hit lands. Before they decided to re-add some good old-fashioned land searching and whatnot, it started here. It started at Memorial to Genius. Because those are the lands that aren't basics. What is the point of a basic land filter, right? Literally, what is the point of this button if I can just do this and it's the exact same? There's 0 point. Because there aren't currently multicolored basic lands. So if I want to see anything that isn't these, well, I have to either scroll all the way down, or I can do this for some strange reason, and it gives me all of these, right? So I can do this, but why? Now I don't have Memorial to Folly. I don't have any of the colored lands. So I can do this, but wait, these are back, and I have to scroll past them again. And it wouldn't be an issue if the scrolling weren't so slow. So it doesn't make sense to me that they added these back, since they also added the basic land button. Like, get rid of these in this, like when you just click this. It doesn't make any sense to have these here and also have the basic land button. Like if I want the basic lands, I can click that. Why are they here? Right, and as the game adds more and more sets, I'm gonna have to scroll more and more. So I don't know. Like, that's one of the big things, is that this deck builder... Wait, they said they were going to revamp the deck builder a while ago. I can't remember if this is the revamped version or if they're still going to revamp it. Fudge. I really don't know. I really, really don't know. I can't remember. But this deck builder does not seem very forwards compatible, right? Like, as is now, this is how you get to the sets. This can only expand so far. What I assume Wizards might do is that they'll have a, like historic, where you press a historic button, and either all the cards in it are going to be historic, which is not what we want, or it'll open up the things that are historic, and then you can click those. It's still not very elegant. It's not a very elegant solution. This style of doing this is also just not elegant. The rest of it, I think, is fine, other than basic lands not being worth anything. Oh, fuck, X-Spells. Searching for X-Spells in this is fucking ridiculous, right? To get rid of this, let's go ahead and do this. So, if you notice, right, there are no X-Spells here. And that makes sense, because X anywhere else but the stack, including in the deck builder, is 0. Right, X is calculated as 0. So if I want to find, say, mass manipulation, I have to search in the force. And then I have to scroll to the end of the force, because it's still at the end of the force. Because even with double X, it's at the end of the force. Now, I could be wrong. Let's see, cost greater than X? Nope, that did not help me. Oh, right, that's color. CMC greater than X. No. Yeah, there might be syntax for it. I've not found it. I have, like, an actual syntax thing. Where are you? Where's my syntax? Alright, literally cannot find it. That's fine. I do somewhere have a syntax for what you can search, and it just, like, does not help. Searching for X's in this is stupid and annoying. Having the basic lands here is stupid and annoying, and I just don't think that the deck builder as is very helpful. So here, this is the thing I was talking about when I mentioned the rarity. You could just have here like M, R, blah blah, and then you just have numbers. Like, you don't even have to like add any bar graph or anything like that, just numbers. Hilarious, they've implemented this, and there's still like a bunch of things here, but as of right now, it doesn't mean anything. Like, they do organize the folders, but you can't have things be multiple things. Like Pauper, it's now just Pauper, and it's like, oh, these things are illegal, and do standard, and then it re-ups to standard. You can't do multiple, which is dumb, because maybe I want to make a standard and singleton deck, and I want it to be filed something like that. So I don't know. It needs work, in my opinion, and I could be wrong about a lot of these things, and that's fine. The craft thing here makes sense, although it doesn't show anything for me because I like all of the cards. That's not true. I don't have all of the rares and mythics. The card style thing, there should be an option to have these set as basic, like, period. These should be opt-in, not opt-out. If I want to put Unsummon in my deck, I don't want to have to keep pressing that damn sparkly button and changing it, right? Some things look really, really, really good with the thing, and the main one for that, in my eyes, is Negate. Even though there is that reflection, it looks so nice that I can kind of get past it. And then there are other things that look fuck ugly. Let's see, what looks completely fuck ugly? I mean, that's not a very good one, thanks to the thing. Oh, this one. This is a perfect example. Look at his hand. Look at how weird that hand looks because of the mirroring effect, right? So it's just frustrating that we have to have them default to those. So I don't know. Those were, God, several minutes of my rambling on that. Sorry. Oh, no, not one more thing. Let us organize our goddamn decks. Let us even have deck folders, right? It's like, you have a standard folder, and a singleton folder, and a pauper folder. I understand that in that case, it'd be more difficult to code it so that you can have a standard and pauper deck. I'm fine with that. If we can still only have them be one type, one format deck, that's fine. If we get folders and make those things matter, right? Right now, it's fucking all decks, standard, pauper, singleton. Oh, wow. It doesn't even have all the other ones. Hilariously. But what's the point of having this here? I'm sure a couple people use it. I've not talked to anyone who does. Let us have deck folders and let us move these damn things around. As it is right now, they move based on what is the most recently edited. So even if you like open a deck and look at it, nothing's going to change unless you edit it. And I get what they're going with that. It's like, oh, the deck you most recently edited must be the deck that you want. No, some people just want to organize them alphabetically. Some people want to organize them by color. Some people just want to organize them by like how often they play them, right? So the more obscure decks that they play from time to time are at the bottom, and the ones they play all the time are at the top. Give us options, right? Options are what makes games like this very good. Right, that's why cosmetics are so popular. That's why Magic as a whole is popular, frankly, because of how many options there are of playing the game, ways to play, different formats, yada, yada, yada. Give us options, Wizards. Options. I understand. You gotta make money. I'll hop over to the store real quick. I understand you gotta make money. But not many people want these when we're getting other better lands. And also, not a lot of people want these as opposed to getting more options in specifically the deck builder. So I've been rambling for a little bit. I do want to know what all of your opinions are. Today's video was a little dry and more analytical, but I really like doing that from time to time with my actual competitive decks. And frankly, I think the deck did okay. You know, I think I like how some of the pieces are. I think the Command the Dreadhorde was fine. Was anything in the sideboard out of the order? No. The deck overall seems fine, although I do need to play it a lot more. Yeah, I would like to, of course, thank my lovely patrons, especially Salamander, Zin, Rexel, Croft, and Furrygod for the continued support. If you'd like to join them in supporting the channel, which really does help, honestly, because the channel not doing great. Cough, cough, YouTube, cough, cough. I'm probably just not that cool. You can find links at that down in the description below, or you can just press that join button and become a channel member today. In the description, you'll also find links to my Discord server, where we chat and play games, and holy shit, my voice apparently is failing me, and my Aetherb account, where I host all my deck lists, including this one. Once again, shout out to Spooky. I have no idea, I can't remember what your full name is. I'm sorry, but yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and tap that like button, add a subscription to your mana pool, cast a comment in the comment section down below, pass the turn and the vid to some of your friends, and of course, until next time, all will be one.